Is this really the end of the wait? Taehyung whispers shocking news only to Jungkook. But why not to others? And why did Jungkook's reaction actually make ARMY cry? Is this a sign of separation, or is it precisely a new beginning that we never imagined? Taehyung reveals shocking news. Jungkook's happy reaction moved the ARMY to tears. Why did Taehyung choose only one person to hear the news first? And why is that person Jungkook? Why not Jim, not Jimin, not even RM? Is this a sign that something deeper is happening behind the scenes? One sentence whispered in a barely audible voice actually shook the emotions of millions of people. Are you ready to find out what really happened? That night, no one expected that a small moment in a private space would create such a huge wave of emotions. Jungkook looked as usual, sitting casually, wearing a loose black sweater and a little smile that is almost always on his face. However, when the door opens and Taehyung walks in wearing civilian clothes for the first time in months, the mood changes. There is something that has not yet been revealed, and only one person is given the honor of knowing it first. Jungkook. The meeting was brief, but the content? Deeper than just the usual news. Taehyung sits next to Jungkook. His hands trembled slightly, and as he began to speak, his low voice broke the silence that seemed to hold the breath of the world. I'll be right back. Faster than you all thought. Jungkook was silent, not because he doesn't understand, but because he understands too much. The sentence is not just an announcement. That's home. That is hope. It was a longing held for too long, finally given a way out. But why didn't Taehyung announce it to all the ARMY first? Why is there no live broadcast? Why not post on Weverse or Instagram? Why just whisper to Jungkook? And at the time of all that questioning, ARMY began to realize, because this news is too personal. Because only the people who best understand the meaning of Taehyung's presence in the silence are worth hearing first. Instantly, Jungkook's expression changed. The eyes that used to be calm are now teary, and not out of sadness, but because of the burden that he himself bears as the remaining active member is now starting to lift. He held Taehyung's hand. No words, but the look in his eyes said over thousands of letters, I'm waiting for you. But is this news really good news? Or is there something else behind Taehyung's accelerated tenure? Why did the military shorten his service time? Are there conditions we don't know about? Is there a behind-the-scenes agreement that makes this decision so possible? Or is Taehyung secretly struggling with something heavier than just state duty? Rumors began to sound. Some say that Taehyung received a different assignment that hastened his service. There was also an opinion that a big project was waiting for him, but no one can be sure yet. Even Jungkook himself, in his emotional reaction, did not divulge further details. Only one thing is clear. He is happy. The ARMY felt it. When this news began to slowly creep into the ears of fans, social media was immediately filled with tears of emotion and endless prayers. You've been through a lot, Taehyung. Now it's time for you to come back, and we're still here. One soldier wrote. Another wrote, Jungkook is crying because he knows he's not alone anymore. But will it really end happily? Isn't there always something we don't know? Isn't there always a hidden reason in every step of this seemingly perfect idol? And is the relationship between Jungkook and Taehyung, which has always seemed discreet, actually harboring a more emotional bond than we imagine? Some ARMY sharp eyes began to put together the puzzle pieces. They remember when Jungkook suddenly wrote lyrics about waiting and foreshadowing someone. They also remembered Taehyung's post that once uploaded a photo of the night sky with a caption, I'll be back before you have time to miss me too deeply. At that time, not many understood what he meant. But now, it's all starting to make sense. Did the two strengthen each other during those tough times? Did Taehyung, in silence, make Jungkook an excuse to come back sooner? And does Jungkook, in every concert, every song, insert the hope that Taehyung will keep his promise? Even more surprising, though, is the fact that Taehyung didn't just whisper the news. He also gave me something. A small box, neatly wrapped. Jungkook opened it slowly and immediately closed his mouth, holding back tears. No one knows for sure what it contains. But the description of the staff who witnessed the incident is enough to give goosebumps. It was not just a gift. It was a symbol of their promise. Now, the world can only wait. Waiting for Taehyung's exact return date. Waiting for a more complete explanation. Waiting for the two to stand together again, not just as group mates, but as two souls who have gone through the storm and come back in the same light. But the question now resonates louder than ever. Is this a sign that Taehyung and Jungkook will start something much bigger than BTS? Do the two keep secret plans for duo projects or even subunits that have been prepared for a long time? Or is this just a sign that after returning, Taehyung will take his own path? We don't know. Not now. But Jungkook's tears that night said one thing clearly. No matter what happens, their love and brotherhood will never fade. And maybe, just maybe, this is the real reason why Taehyung chose to tell this news only to Jungkook first. Because sometimes, only one person knows our deepest wounds. And only one person deserves first place when we return to the world. Do you also feel shaky when you read this? Do you also feel an indescribable sadness when you imagine these two figures reunited in a silent embrace? Because if yes, then you know that this is not just news. This is an emotional history that ARMY will remember forever. And maybe more surprises will come after this. But are you ready to accept it all? But this story is not over. This is precisely the beginning of something bigger, more emotional and more heartwarming for anyone who has followed the journey of these two figures since their debut. Because the news whispered that night did not stop there. After telling Jungkook about his return, Taehyung said one sentence that even made Jungkook suddenly silent, staring at him without being able to say anything. And now, the big question arises, what exactly did Taehyung say after that? According to one of the staff members who overheard Taehyung say something he had never even said in public, I want us to sing that song together again, but this time with new lyrics. The sentence sounds simple, but anyone who knows the history of both will immediately understand what it means. That song. Their first song. The song they rehearsed until late at night, even when the body was exhausted and the voice was almost exhausted. The song was never officially released, but became part of their early story as trainees. New lyrics? Does this mean that they will return with joint projects? Or are they just old memories that they want to relive as an irreplaceable sign of friendship? Jungkook's reaction was very honest that night. He was crying, not holding back, not trying to look strong. The cry that soaked the cheeks silently, like a tear that had been held for a long time, finally found its own way. And when he hugged Taehyung, his embrace was long, for a long time. Even the people who saw it were silent, a clothing coordinator said. Usually they just say hello to each other quickly, then focus on each other's tasks. But that night was different. It was as if they wanted to convey all the words that had not been spoken for months in just one hug. Then he added softly, and I guess it wasn't just a hug from longing, but hug because there is a great fear that the world will change so quickly after this. Scared? Why should there be fear in such a beautiful moment? Perhaps because both know the world they will face after this is no longer the same. There will be no more hiding places from public pressure. There will no longer be a military excuse as a shield. When Taehyung returns, he should be back as a full-fledged idol. And so is Jungkook. But are they still ready? Or rather, do they want to return in the same way as before? The question resonated among fans. Many began to speculate that the two were planning to form a duo unit, a special collaboration that would become a symbol of their eternal friendship. But another rumor has also emerged, no less surprising, that Taehyung and Jungkook will release a temporary farewell song before returning to the stage with the other BTS members. The song was said to be a response to all the feelings they had stored during their state duty, and what's more, the ARMY can't stop thinking there are rumors that the song's lyrics were written by the two themselves while in two different places, one in a military barracks, one in a quiet studio late at night, without direct communication, only in writing. It was as if fate brought their feelings together despite the distance and time apart. Did I ask that a coincidence? Or a sign that their souls are really connected deeper than just colleagues? What makes this news even more emotional is the fact that after the news was delivered, Jungkook briefly disappeared from social media. He didn't post anything for 2 whole days. For some fans, that might be normal. But for ARMY, which always pays attention to the slightest detail, it was a clear sign that Jungkook was brooding, crying, or even prepare something. 2 days later, a story appeared on Jungkook's Instagram account. Just one sentence. Without photos, without tags, but enough to make armies around the world shiver. You came faster than I thought. Thank you for keeping that. If that night was the moment that made the world silent, then the days after were the seconds that seemed to accelerate the heart of the entire army in the world. Because one by one, the pieces of the mystery begin to unfold, as if Taehyung and Jungkook have not only composed that emotional moment naturally, but have also prepared a series of surprises from which we can't look away. Jungkook finally appeared in a short live broadcast via the community platform. Her face looked fresh, but her eyes couldn't hide the remnants of emotion. It does not open the broadcast with the usual greeting. No hello or how are you? All he said at first was, I still can't believe it, but he really kept his promise. The comment section was flooded with speculation. Jungkook did not name names, did not explain the context, but all the army knew exactly who he meant. And when he smiled a little, then looked at the camera while taking a deep breath and said, "You'll know everything in a minute," that second also BTS's social media exploded. Global trending peaked with hashtags such as hashtag Taehyung Reunion, hashtag He Kept His Promise, and hashtag Emotional Jungkook. But behind the excitement, there is a story that is not yet widely known to the public. The night Taehyung tells Jungkook about his return, it turns out to be no ordinary meeting. From the exclusive information we got from a source close to the military staff, the visit was not only to deliver happy news, but also to apologize. Yes, you didn't read it wrong. Taehyung apologizes to Jungkook. But why? According to the source, Taehyung revealed that during his tenure, he felt guilty for turning down an important project involving the two. The project, originally conceived by HYB's creative team, is an emotional documentary that will showcase the personal side of the two before their enlistment. But Taehyung, at that time, felt not ready to open his feelings in front of the camera. He refused. Jungkook accepted the decision calmly back then, or at least that's how it looks on the surface. But according to the staff who co-conceived the project, Jungkook appeared disappointed, although he never said it directly. And that night, as Taehyung hugged Jungkook and said, "I want to fix everything," ARMY who watched their little interaction from behind-the-scenes video footage could sense. This wasn't just a meeting of two best friends, but a moment of deep reconciliation. And then came the shock that left the world speechless once again. A mysterious teaser video appeared on the official Bangtan channel. Without notice, without a clear title, just a short inscription. "For you, I'm back." In the 18-second video, silhouettes of two men stand with their backs to the camera. Blank background. Only one piano note is played. No face. No name. But all know it's Taehyung and Jungkook, and at the end of the video, one sentence appears slowly, in a thin, faint font, like a whisper. Something we will tell them, not for them, but for each other. What does all this mean? Are the two preparing a secret project? Or is this an introduction to the most emotional moment in the history of their friendship? The next day, the official news finally came. Taehyung will end his service sooner than expected, having met the special administrative requirements based on the military's last evaluation. Although it does not reduce the total term of compulsory service, he gets the opportunity to complete the remaining time in the status of a reserve assignment that does not oblige a full presence in the barracks. In other words, Taehyung will return home early. And do you know who was the first to greet him personally outside the headquarters? Yeah, Jungkook. Wearing a gray hoodie, black mask, and teary eyes, Jungkook was seen waiting for more than an hour outside the gate. When Taehyung came out, there was no dramatic hug, no waving to the camera. But the look in their eyes when they looked at each other was enough to make many fans cry just by looking at it. Amateur video captured by a local army officer shows Taehyung approaching Jungkook, patting him on the chest with a smile, then saying, "You waited too long for me." And Jungkook, without hesitation, replied, "No longer."